9. Divorce. If it becomes impossible for a husband and wife to get along with one another, there has always existed in divine religions the option of separation from one another. In religious parlance, this separation is called divorce. Before circumstances reach an extent that divorce remains the only option, it should be the intense desire of every person to keep intact the marital relationship as far as possible. However, if all efforts of reformation fail and becomes evident that this relationship cannot remain intact, the Almighty has asked Muslims to make a last-ditch effort. The relatives of the couple, their clan and tribe, and other well-wishers should come forward and use their influence to set right the situation. The procedure outlined in this regard is that one arbitrator should be appointed from the husband's family and another from the wife's family. Both these arbitrators should try to reconcile the two in the hope that what the husband and wife could not accomplish themselves would be accomplished by the elders and the well-wishers of the two families. A husband is the head of the family. He is responsible for financially providing his wife. On these very grounds, he has been given the right to divorce. So if a wife wants to separate from her husband, she cannot divorce him. On the contrary, she will demand divorce from him. In general circumstances, it is hoped that every gentleman, seeing that there is no other way out, would accept this demand. However, if this does not happen to be the case, a wife can turn to the court of law. It can order her husband to give her divorce or can annul the marriage contract. Whether a husband divorces his wife because of his own decision or does so at the demand of his wife, in both cases the procedure of divorce prescribed by the Quran is as follows. 1. Divorce should be given keeping in consideration the iddat. This means that it is incorrect to divorce a wife in a manner that separates her instantaneously. In all instances, it must be given after a considered intention of separation, and it becomes effective after a specific waiting period. Iddat in religious parlance means the period in which a divorced or widowed lady cannot marry any other person. Since this period has been primarily fixed in order to ascertain whether a lady is pregnant or not, therefore it is necessary that divorce be given after a lady has completed her menstrual cycle in that period of cleanliness in which the husband did not have any sexual intercourse with his wife. 2. Muslims must carefully keep count of the period of iddat. Since divorce is a matter of great consequences and a lot of legal issues arise for the man, the woman, their children, and their whole family, it is essential that the time and the date of divorce be properly accounted for. Moreover, it is essential that at the time of divorce, the state of the woman, the date when the iddat commenced, and the date when it will end be kept track of. 3. Until the iddat period expires, the husband has the right to take back his wife. If the husband does not take back his wife within the iddat period, then once this period expires, the relationship of wedlock will cease to exist. Consequently, the husband is directed to make up his mind once this period is approaching its end. He should decide if he has to revoke his decision and take her back, or is to persist with his decision and sever his relationship with her. In both cases, the Almighty has directed him to follow the ma'ruf or good conventions of the society. Following are the directives given by the Quran in this regard. Firstly, whatever amount of wealth, property, clothes, jewelry, and other items that have been gifted to the wife by the husband should not be confiscated by him. Nafaka or maintenance and meher or dowry are the absolute rights of a wife, and confiscating them is unthinkable. What is emphasized by the Quran is that a husband should not take back anything besides these two that he may have given her. There are two exceptions to this directive. First, if it is no longer possible to keep a marriage intact according to the limits set by Allah, and the family elders in the society also support the annulment, but the husband is unwilling to divorce his wife simply because he is concerned about losing wealth, property, or other gifts he has given his wife, then the issue can be resolved in the following manner. The wife can give back part or all of the wealth gifted to her to relieve herself of her marital contract. In such cases, it would be lawful for the husband to accept these return gifts. Second, if the wife is guilty of open sexual misconduct, since such a behavior destroys the very basis of the marital relationship, it is lawful for the husband to take back any gifts or wealth given to her. Secondly, the husband shall not be responsible to give the dower if the wife is divorced such that the husband has not touched her or her dower had not been fixed. However, if the dower had been fixed but a lady was divorced before having sexual relations with the husband, then the husband is liable to pay half the amount of the dower fixed, except if the wife willingly forgoes the total amount or the husband pays the full amount. Thirdly, a wife at the time of parting should be given some resources of life. The Quran says that this is an obligation of those who fear God and those who are righteous. Its quantity shall be fixed, keeping in view the custom of the society and the financial circumstances of the husband. If a lady is divorced even without going near her, or if the dower had not been fixed, a husband is exhorted to fulfill this obligation. 4. If a husband revokes his decision within the iddat, the lady will continue to remain his wife. A person can only twice exercise this right of divorcing his wife in the iddat and then revoking the decision in his marriage with the lady within this period. However, once he has used his authority twice in his marriage with a lady, he can no longer use it again the third time. In such a situation, his wife would be permanently separated from him, except if she marries some other person and he then also divorces her. 5. When the husband decides to divorce his wife or to take her back, in both cases he shall call in two trustworthy Muslim witnesses on his decision. The reason for this directive is to ensure that either of the parties is not able to refute a decision made and to resolve any other dispute that may arise in this regard. 6. In normal circumstances, the iddat is 3 menstrual cycles, and if a woman is pregnant, then the iddat will extend to childbirth. However, if a woman does not menstruate because of advancing age or in spite of reaching puberty, then this period would be 3 months. If sexual relations have not been established with a woman, then since the question of pregnancy does not even arise, there is no iddat for her. The directives of iddat which are mentioned in the Quran are as follows. Firstly, during iddat, neither should a wife leave her house, nor is the husband authorized to turn her out from her house. Living together might hopefully be beneficial for both, and they might reconcile and thus save a family from breaking. The only exception to the above directive is if the basis on which a divorce has been given is open sexual misconduct. Obviously, in such a situation, neither is it proper to demand from the husband to keep the wife in the house, nor can the benefit be attained for which this directive had been given. Secondly, it is stated that a husband should provide residence and maintenance to his divorced wife according to his status. After divorce, a husband can be very stingy in this regard. Consequently, he has been directed not to provide for her in a manner that damages her self-esteem, and she is forced to leave her house herself. Thirdly, no lady should try to conceal her pregnancy during her iddat. The Almighty has laid great stress on this instruction because the very directive to observe the iddat has been given for ascertaining whether a lady is pregnant or not. 7. Even after divorce, if the husband who has given this divorce wants that this divorced wife should suckle his child, then she should carry out this responsibility for 2 years. If she is willing to suckle the child, then the husband shall pay her for this service, and this remuneration shall be ascertained through mutual consultation and in a befitting manner. If the father of the child is dead, his heirs will be responsible for all the above-mentioned rights and obligations. If through mutual consent and consultation, the estranged husband and wife decide to terminate the suckling period before 2 years, they can do so. If the child's father or, in his absence, the heirs of the child want to suckle the child through some other lady instead of the mother, they are authorized to do so, provided what has been promised with the mother is fully honored. 8. After divorce, a husband has no right to cause any hindrance if his former wife wants to marry someone. She has the liberty to marry whoever and whenever she wants. If her decision to marry is in accordance with the norms of the society, it cannot be objected to in any way. 10. Directives relating to widows. The iddat of a widow is 4 months and 10 days. In contrast to the iddat of a divorced lady, the iddat of a widow has been extended by 40 days. The reason is that while a husband has been asked to divorce his wife in the period of purity in which he has had no sexual intercourse with her, obviously no such requirement can be proposed in the case of a widow. It is to exercise care that 40 days have been added by the Quran to the waiting period of a woman who loses her husband. Since the purpose for observing the iddat is the same for both a divorced woman and a widow, hence all exceptions which are stated in cases of divorce shall have to be kept in consideration for the iddat of a widow also. Consequently, a widow with whom marriage has not been consummated shall have no iddat, and the iddat of a pregnant widow will extend to childbirth. After the iddat expires, the wife is free to do whatever she deems appropriate for herself. However, she should follow the norms of the society in this matter. In other words, she should not indulge in any activity which damages her repute, honor, and integrity of the family, nor the conventions of a society. If all this is kept in consideration, then no aspersions can be cast on her or her guardians. If a person wants to marry a widow, then during her waiting period, he can make up his mind to do so, or inform her of his intentions in a very tacit manner. However, it is not permitted that he, without considering the sentiments of the affected family, send a marriage proposal to the widow or make some hidden agreement with her. The husband should make a will in favor of their wives for the provision of 1 year's residence and maintenance, except if the wives themselves leave the house or take any other similar step. 11.